कुमार स्वामी नायक है गोंगो लिबू लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
Good evening, Fiji. In this bulletin, Fijians warned against fish poisoning. Now sorry market vendors concerned with facilities. And Fijians unite to celebrate Diwali.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spate.
The Fisheries Ministry is urging Fijians to be vigilant while consuming fish this festive season. Minister Semi Koroi-Lavisao says there is a high chance for people having fish poisoning, taking into consideration the seaworm or mbalolo season and the current hot weather. Sainian Imboila reports.
Fijians have been advised to be careful about the types of fish they consume over the next 2 months.
Time where there's mbalolo season, and people need to be very careful. There's species of even kaukaua, donu. You have other fish species that are normally poisonous. The tendency to become poisonous is much higher during Balolo period.
Koroi-Lavisao says some fish eat balolo, and with the current humid weather, it's important to take precautions against fish poisoning.
The conditions of the heat and also the humidity have more tendency to create an environment that is very good for the poisonous aspect that is being brought out from the sea, consumed by fish, and then human beings consume fish.
Fish vendors say more awareness is needed for consumers and fishermen to know which species of fish are poisonous and at which times of the year.
We want usually fisheries to come and identify which the fish contains poison, so that we can tell the fishermen not to fish those fish.
We really need more awareness from the ministry regarding this issue.
Some poisonous fish include kawakawa, donun, dokonibundi, and damo. Sainiani Mboila, FBC News.
Now sorry market vendors have raised concerns about the new market being built about 2 meters below the road level. Local Government Minister Pramila Kumar says the market was a designed and built project and now they are focusing on service delivery. Kritika Kumar reports.
The minister says the Nosuri market is fairly new and they are focused on enhancing service delivery.
I know the vendors have been raising their concern that the market is situated a little lower than from the road level. But I personally feel that it's all done and dusted. We just have to continue providing the service now. Right, and that's what we are focusing on.
Kumar adds vendors have also raised concerns regarding the availability of space in the market, and the town council is working on another commercial project to create more room.
So we would like to give options to the vendors who are currently operating from the market, and the business size is much bigger. You know, if you look at their turnover, which is more than 100,000. So we will be encouraging them to take up a space in that complex.
Niklesh Chand, a farmer and vendor from Waituri Irrigation, says on busy days a lack of space causes issues.
Every weekend we have to come early and do our setup because it's really difficult for us to get space and we have to sit outside and sell our produce.
Kumar says they are working with stakeholders to address space shortage and providing parking space. The Nosuri market was opened in 2015. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Families in Narikoso in Kandavo are putting in the final touches to 7 houses that will mark the beginning of the relocation of the entire village. Narikoso village representative Kelepi Saukitonga says it's a bittersweet moment as the pilot project is the first for Kandavo. Sainiani Boiler reports.
8 years in the making, the relocation of 30 homes in Narikoso will become a reality on Thursday.
As from now on, we are been preparing for the opening of this new relocation project. So the people of Narikoso, especially the ones they are staying in Suva and the ones who are staying in the villages, they are now started to have a preparation about this the dates of this opening.
Sauki Tonga says the families that will relocate first are the ones who are currently in the red zone with seawater surrounding their homes during high tide.
The ones who are staying to the near to the seawall, they are called the red zone one. And the one that's second to the red zone one, we've named it as a yellow zone one. And the third one is the green zone one. So we move people into phase-like zone. And the first one who has to move is these 7 houses. So these 7 ones is the one who's belonging to the red zone. And
for these villages, a new beginning without the fears of climate change is a cause for celebration.
one of the big moments, one of the greatest moments, is from our history. This is one of the history in Nerikoso, because this is one of the biggest projects that's been done in Nerikoso, and it's one of the biggest projects in Kandau.
The European Union and GIZ-funded relocation pilot project will be launched by the Prime Minister Burenge Bainimarama this Thursday. Sainiani Mboila, FBC News.
The uniqueness of Diwali in Fiji is that everyone, irrespective of race and religion, celebrate this vicious day. The country was lit up with magnificent fireworks last night. The streets were full of Fijians visiting friends and children playing with fireworks. FBC News visited a few homes to see how celebrations went. Venina Rakautonga has more.
The celebration of the Festival of Lights portrays the true cultural diversity of Fiji.
We are fortunate that we are living in a multicultural country, and I think for Fijian and Indian there is no differences. I think we are all one, and I think if you look at my area, I think all my neighbors, they are all Fijians.
Fiji football player Sitareki Hughes and family celebrated Diwali at the Pratap's Nambua home and says this is one of the favorite times for their family.
Well, Diwali, it means a lot to my family too, especially going out to know other people's religious belief. So, yes, Diwali is a very special moment for Hindus. So we take out our time as a family and come and spend it with them.
Joanna and her family enjoyed Diwali with a bowl of grog outside their Vatuanga home, watching fireworks.
Diwali, as we all know, is a celebration of lights. And as Christians, as good neighbors, we should all enjoy and celebrate together, just like them celebrating Christmas with us. So likewise.
7-year-old Jerry, who celebrated Diwali with his friends, says his favorite part is getting to eat sweets.
I like pear as well because it's sweet.
Many Hindus welcomed friends from all backgrounds into their homes to enjoy Indian delicacies and food. Venina Rakautonga, FBC News.
Hundreds of homes in the Greater Suva area shone with Diwali decorations hanging proudly from walls, fences and creative displays. One that stood out was the Prasad's residence in Mukta Ben Road, Vatuanga. Venina Rakautonga reports the family set aside money for Diwali and had come up with ideas on designs.
From unused pipes, iron rods, glass and containers, the idea was to be extravagant but affordable, and that is just what they produced.
I moved from India 7 months ago, and so I wanted to do something similar to how we in India decorate our house during Diwali. I came up with this idea and told the family, as I knew this would save them a lot of money.
For the Prasad siblings, this was a lesson learned.
You don't need a lot of money to make a lot of decorations. Just use what you have, like what's around your house.
Most Hindu families in Fiji have been affected by the gripping effects of the pandemic. Many still manage to budget for their Diwali spending.
I've taken a little bit of conservative approach actually, just to save a little bit, and then also you have to be, because it's the time where you have to celebrate with lights, especially. Initially it was with diyas, so we have to, if you see around, we had to spend a little bit. But like I said, on a consecutive approach actually, just because of the Christmas coming up and we have to back to school, so obviously we have to think about that also.
Diwali is a popular festival celebrated by followers of Hinduism, the second largest religion in Fiji. Venina Rakautonga, FBC News.
Up ahead, regional police training hampered by COVID-19 and diploma for those in the performing arts.
मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
Diwali celebrations in Nandi this year were a little different for many families as thousands have been affected by the pandemic. For Angie Prasad, this was a time for her family to share the spirit of Diwali with all Fijians at their home in Navakai. Details with Felipe Naikaso.
The spirit of sharing and giving during Diwali was an important aspect for the Prasad family as they know many remain unemployed due to COVID-19.
This year, Diwali, it's a hard time, so I invite most of my family, friends and customers for sweets and dinner. Like, instead of wasting money on firecrackers, I try to help, share and care with needy people.
Prasad says it was also a blessing for their family to have people from all walks of life at their home. One in particular was American tourist Lauren Vega, who celebrated Diwali for the first time.
I really enjoy having all of the community together and getting to meet the families, and they've made a really good point of bringing everybody from all different ethnicities together, so it's been really nice.
It was also a special Diwali for the current family in Namaka as they had visiting family all the way from Rotuma.
I'm very happy because we have left our island in Rotuma just to come together to celebrate over here in Nandi because we've been living over here with my daughter and my son-in-law.
Fasala says this was also his first time to celebrate Diwali, but it will also not be his last. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
Lambasa was lit up last night as COVID-19 failed to dampen the festive spirit of families in the north. Fijians were seen using creative ideas and recycling material from last year to decorate their homes and environment. Kritika Kumar reports.
Happy Diwali! Fijians in North looked at alternative ways to keep up the spirit of Diwali and enjoy festivities.
I'm doing something creative like the previous year,
right.
Looking something new. And this year with the pandemic year, so we're not managed to get something new, but we use the same things and different ideas.
All right.
Vunika resident Prashant Chand says this year they spent less on fireworks.
As COVID-19 hit this year, shortage of fireworks, but we got to buy from the shops. For the lights, it's over hundreds of dollars, and the sweets, yeah, it's over hundreds of dollars.
Dayawati was thankful that she and her family were able to celebrate despite the pandemic.
We are celebrating Diwali, even though we do not have enough, but we are happy that we have got the opportunity to celebrate Diwali.
Wati adds they had to overcome challenges to be able to make sweets for friends and families.
We could not afford to buy a lot of things, but we collected money and brought stuff so that when anyone comes to our house, we can give them sweets.
Diwali, the festival of lights, is a 5-day celebration and today is day 4. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Acting Commissioner of Police Rusiate Tundravo is calling on Pacific police leaders to find ways around the pandemic and enhance capacity development. ACP Tundravo made this statement during the first sitting of the Pacific Police Training Advisory Group held via virtual conferencing. He is also the chair of the Pacific Islands Chief of Police. Tundravo says it has been a difficult and challenging year with the closure of borders restricting travel, but policing leaders need to adjust to the new norm. He adds training cannot wait for a cure for the pandemic and they must constantly look for ways around it. A 23-year-old tertiary school student died following a motor vehicle accident near Namau along the Nambawalu Highway in Vanua-Levu last night. The victim was a passenger in a vehicle driven by her mother, heading to the Nambawalu jetty. Police believe the driver lost control of the vehicle, causing it to veer off the road and tumble several times. The deceased was pronounced dead on arrival at the Nambawalu hospital, while the driver and 2 others remain admitted. 17 students have graduated with a diploma in dance from the Nandi-based Conservatorium of Dance Institution. Following the launch of the program 2 years ago, aspiring dancers can now gain qualifications in the performing arts. Details with Felipe Naikaso.
It's a historic moment for these students as they now also hold credentials in dancing, something they love doing. Minister for Education Rosie Akbar praised the Dance Academy and the students, saying the school is a vital component of the education system.
Hearing that you were working with the Fiji Higher Education Commission and ensuring that the students would be able to secure jobs after their graduation is something that touched me.
For valedictorian Navi Fong, being exposed to arts at an early age has contributed to his achievement.
For your unceasing determination, you've danced your ways ever so beautifully and ever so elegantly through unpredictable seasons of uncertainty and seasons of doubt. And that grit and will that is characteristic to a student of the Conservatorium of Dance is something that you've embodied so fully.
The diploma program is made up of 4 components and is designed for the employment market in Fiji. Philippe Naikaso, FBC News.
Coming up in sports, more tests for flying Fijians. And hitman eyes overseas opponent.
Pula nadang ko aprosa ng garse, go erkraki. The television of our Radio FIJIANS, nandomibit.
Radio FIJIANS, nandomibit.
The Flying Fijians will have further tests tonight and on Wednesday before round 2 of the Autumn Nations Cup. Fiji was supposed to play France this morning, but the match was cancelled following the 4 positive coronavirus cases in the Flying Fijians camp. Aquila Dhama reports the remaining 3 matches could also be at risk.
FRU Chief Executive John O'Connor says all players and team management have been placed under quarantine, isolated in their individual rooms. However, more tests will be conducted tonight.
Hopefully we can get negative results. They can participate in the match against Italy, and then when they come back, the normal thing applies. They have to be in quarantine, they have to be tested.
The FRU and team management are optimistic that everything will work out in time for the match against Italy.
I think on the positive side, no one has any symptoms, no one has any high temperature. So the team morale is quite high.
Even head coach Vern Cotter is pleased with how the team is reacting to the challenging situation.
We'll come back and prepare for Italy and go and play Italy, then we'll come back and prepare for Scotland. Then there's one more game. So it's all in all, it's been complex, but it's been helped so much by the positive attitude from players and staff.
The Flying Fijians are scheduled to play Italy at 12:45 a.m. on Sunday. Aquila Dhama, FBC Sports.
Many players from the Skipper Cup were part of the Region 3 Women's Tens tournament in Suva today. However, it was the new talents that pleased selectors. Fijiana 15's coach Senirusi Seruvakula, Fijiana 7's mentor Sayasi Fuli, former Flying Fijians coach and Fiji Rugby Development Officer Inoke Male were closely following the action. Seruvakula says they identified some future prospects today.
We've got the top guns of the Skipper Cup, Neitasiri, Televu and Suba. So the talent ID is mainly for those teams that comes from Serua, Northland and Northern Bulls. And I'm very impressed with the turnout today.
The newly crowned WBF Asia-Pacific Super Welterweight Champion Chese the Hitman Ravundi is now looking for opponents overseas. After his technical knockout win over Ronald Naidu on Saturday night in Nandi, the 28-year-old wants to go back to where he debuted. Philippe Naikaso has more.
28-year-old Chese Ravundi has made his intentions clear on where he's planning to fight next, following a huge win on Saturday night over Ronald Naidu.
Australia, baby. I'm Australia next year, for sure. I'm Australia next year. Thank you.
Ravundi's record is currently 11 wins, 4 losses and a draw. During his stint in Australia back in 2013, he fought 7 times, winning 4 and had a draw. Meanwhile, Eroni Lingaloa, who suffered his first defeat on the night, says it's not the end for him.
But I'd really love to fight Alfredi again. I know I got him a few times, but I couldn't follow up on that. So I'll go back home, improve my stamina,
maybe come back and fight him again.
Boxing fans can also expect more fights in the future.
Right now, we have 2 key promoters promoting boxing in Fiji. We will be looking at another program shortly.
The Kiran boxing promotion has also been hailed a success. Felipe Naikaso, FBC Sports.
About 100 players turned up for the Fiji touch rugby trials today. The trials for both the men's and women's teams were held at Muslim Primary School grounds, and it's the first national event after the lockdown. Among the trialists today was national touch rugby rep Inele Malele, fresh from helping Suva win the Skipper Cup for the 3rd year in a row over the weekend. National coach Tomasi Tiko was organising things at the ground and also searching for some new talents. And in weather, cloudy periods with isolated brief showers and afternoon or evening thunderstorms were experienced over the eastern and interior parts of the larger islands. A quick look at the weather map in the west. Cloudy periods and brief showers over the main centres. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, mostly fine conditions apart from a few cloudy periods. And up north, afternoon or evening showers are forecast for Savo and Lambasa. At sea, easterly winds 10 to 15 knots, moderate seas. Turning to the tides, the next high tide is at 8:06 tomorrow morning, with low tide at 2:15. Sunrise is at 5:22 tomorrow. Outlook for tomorrow, cloudy periods with brief showers and isolated afternoon or evening thunderstorms over the eastern and the interior parts of the larger islands. Our further outlook, we're looking on to Wednesday. Expect cloudy periods with some showers over the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands. Elsewhere, fine apart from isolated afternoon or evening showers and possible thunderstorms. And recapping the main stories for tonight, Ministry warns against fish poisoning. Nausori market vendors concerned with facilities, and Fijians unite to celebrate Diwali. Now for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. Our poll question last week we had asked, have you already prepared your Diwali decorations? Close to 70% answered yes. And this week we're asking, are you prepared for the festive season amid COVID-19? Visit our FBC website to answer. And you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj, via Facebook page FBC News and our Twitter page at FBC_news, or simply hashtag FBC News. That's your news for tonight. Until tomorrow from the team and I, have a safe and enjoyable new week ahead. Bye for now.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.
Bula FM number 2 NSR.